Welcome everyone to the Boltathon, the world's first online Lightning Network hackathon and conference. Today, I am super excited to welcome Rockstar Dev and Britt Kelly onto to our conference, and they're going to do a code along and do a Q&A at the end.
Thank you, everyone, and I'll start sharing our presentation. So what we will be doing is presenting our awesome BTC-based server. And before we start, I want to thank everybody for being here for this talk, especially our wonderful Britt Kelly. Yeah, Kelly. And yeah, in case you're wondering, that's 5 T's. So if you want to follow her on Twitter, you make sure it's 5 T's because you want to follow original, not some fork, right?
Yeah.
Real thing. Yeah. And yeah, you go, Britt.
Okay, well, here's all of our chats. So we have quite a few. They're actually all linked together. So if you say something in the Slack, we'll see it in Mattermost. Mattermost is our main chat. That's kind of where most of the technical questions happen, but Telegram is cool. It's kind of more like merchant focused and people just having a good time in there. Yeah, so definitely join, even if you don't have questions and you just kind of want to participate and join the community, which our community is awesome. Eventually you might find yourself becoming a developer contributor.
Yeah, and definitely. So any of these channels is a good way to start. Before we go with presentation, yeah, I also want to thank Andrew and Patrick for organizing this great conference, because I wish there are more online events, because future of our work, I strongly believe it's remote focused. And I definitely think it will make a lot of sense to have more of these online events for Bitcoin development. And considering this is a developer conference, our focus today will be on presenting BTC-based server as a technology stack rather than pure payment processor. So during presentation, we will mostly go through how do you set up for development. And then by the end of the presentation, we'll also show how you can join, how you can contribute to the project and work with us, because I've been actively developing for the last 20 years, and I can only say there are maybe few other instances where as a developer I felt comparable joy of being a part of bigger group and interacting with other members of the group. As you saw from start of this talk, it's just great. I work with people who are bodybuilders, who are piano players. So yeah, you should be part of that, right, Britt?
Yeah, right. Anybody can join.
Yeah. So yeah, as I said, getting is easy. Just join on any of these channels and we can start from there. So about our talk, I will just start with brief history of the whole project and overview our architecture, and from there we will transition into documentation that Britt is very responsible for, and we're very thankful for. Like everybody on the project is thankful for the work she done in documentation, so she will be presenting that. As for the history and how it all started, yeah, this is now that infamous tweet by Nicholas. I hope everybody's seeing my shared screen, right?
Yep.
And yeah, I'm telling you, whenever I look at this tweet, I always get to the point thinking about BitPay raising tens of millions of dollars and then this single individual being upset and starting avalanche. But yeah, the whole point of all this is to, as Nicholas later said, was us as individuals, we need to be the ones to have our independence and our freedom. So if I look at the history of humankind, it's this process of getting more and more individual freedom and not putting up with stuff that's, you know, just forced upon you. So with Segwit 2x, when BitPay tried to just onboard all the merchants to Segwit 2x fork, yeah, Nicholas was with just going to saying he will make BitPay obsolete, and we're almost there, I would say. As for my own, how I joined the project, I interacted with Nicholas way before through this code project website, writing articles, and then when this BTC Pay server happened, I just said, you know, if you need +1, I'm there. Yeah, and honestly, if I know that I will be interacting this much, you know, with you, Britt, like I would join sooner. But back then, just, you know, Nicholas and Mike from Coin Cards interacting on Slack. Way more fun now, right?
Yeah, way more fun.
How, like, this can also be discovery talk. How did you join?
Oh, I think I just saw some of the BTC Pay stuff that Nicholas was posting on Twitter, and it's kind of one of those things where you're like, this is too good to be true. Like, you know, it sounds like a good idea, and it's just open source, you know. And so then I just decided like I should look into this, and then yeah, I actually went to the seminar with Vortex and Nicholas, and
Okay.
did some kind of like end Bitcoin coding, and yeah, I went from there. It's just a good project. Everybody's really great who's involved, and everybody wants to teach each other and help each other. And even if you're not the most advanced developer, like there's so many ways you can get involved.
Well, I'm now thankful for that seminar by Vortex. I didn't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was really glad to learn. Now that's how you met them. So I hope they do
Yep.
more of those.
Yeah, me too. It was great.
Yeah. So as for how it went from there, yeah, from my joining personal, like also part of the reason why I even joined the project is because I see this unfortunate circle of hyperinflation and chaos, and you know we're just, I think we're just getting to the point where we need better technology so that we don't see scenes like this or scenes like this, especially, yeah, that fiat paper that just becomes worthless overnight. And especially now that we have Bitcoin, I simply think there is no need for, you know, scenes like this. So, as I said, Nicholas himself talked a little bit about his own motivation of, you know, being the sovereign individual, where simply we have this defensive technologies where us as individuals can defend our independence and freedom through technology, and that's the whole point of BTC Pay server. Like anybody should be able to bring up technology stack like BitPay has in 5 or 10 minutes, and that's what we are doing as developers. If we look at the architecture of BTC Pay server, actually, when you understand all the parts, it's pretty simple. So at the bottom, you have Bitcoin core node. On top of Bitcoin core node, you have MBX Explorer. That's just, you know, UTXO tracker and provides a uniform API that we can then query from BTC Pay server. And then BTC Pay server itself, all the data, it depends on, you know, data on stores, data on users, data on invoices. It stores in a database, and that database by default is Postgres, but you can use MySQL or other engines, and as long as database engines, as long as they're supported by entity framework. Yeah. And these are main repositories here that we see. BTC Pay server is the repository in which you see which all the source code for BTC Pay server itself is. Then we have BTC Pay server Docker, which is a deployment repository where you have all the scripts that allow you to bring up BTC Pay server in 5 minutes. And then our awesome documentation repository, where you have like whatever questions you have, like just go there and you will find the answer. Sometimes even I forget. I have a question and then I ask Britt or Pavle, like, do you know answer to this? And then they point me to documentation, and then I feel, I should have known this. And finally, yeah, this is MBX Explorer repository, not so important. But yeah, for documentation, I guess we can start demonstrating. You, Britt, know way more on documentation than me, so feel free to share. And as I said, I'm especially interested in incoming Lightning channels because
Okay.
there are some questions on that.
Okay. I'm trying to share my screen.
Yeah, at the bottom, green.
This is kind of like Inception. Okay. So here, can you see my screen?
Yeah, perfect.
Okay. So basically, normally you can go to, oops, sorry, I love BTCPay. You can go to docs.btcpayserver.org, and then these are this is the documentation. And it looks nice in here. If you're kind of more of the nerd, you can go into the GitHub version, which is like where I like to hang out. So there's all these repositories, and just go to the docs. Yeah. And okay, so we have all these basically docs that have been written, and obviously this is a Lightning Network presentation, so we go to the Lightning Network documentation, and basically what this is it shows mostly how to connect LND and C Lightning, and it's really step-by-step. If you find that it's not step-by-step or it's missing some information that would be helpful to you or someone else, definitely feel free to open an issue in the docs, and we won't be mad. No one will be upset. Like, we just want to help each other, and we want to reduce the number of questions that people have to ask. But you can also go to our FAQ, which a lot of people don't know about. It's kind of a newer part of our documentation, but we spent a lot of time working on it. And so this is our frequently asked questions folder. And you can just like Control F and like, okay, I'm searching for capacity. And here's our Lightning Network general FAQ. And there's all these questions. And a lot of times people will ask these questions in the chat. This is like the number one thing. We're like, check the FAQ. Everything is in the FAQ, like over and over and over. So if you could please check the FAQ, we would love that. Also, if you join our chat and you know a lot about this kind of stuff, even if you're not a BTC Pay expert, maybe you're just a Lightning expert, definitely come in and hang out with us, because none of us can do this alone. Like, we're not all experts at everything. So, but inbound capacity to my node, we have information on it, and there's articles here. It's just a wealth of information. So, high, medium, okay. There's articles here to help you understand, why it's important to have inbound capacity, what it means for you as a merchant. Obviously, you want that if you want to have people connect to you. So, and just quickly here, you can also see if you have a BTC Pay server, you can see a lot of your node statistics using the Ride the Lightning app, which is really cool. I can show you really quickly. This is my BTC Pay server. You just go to server settings, services, Ride the Lightning, click here, and boom, like, look how easy that is. It's so cool. So like you can see, I'm just learning. I'm not a Lightning expert. I learn a lot from the community, in the Telegram, and I learn a lot from the community in Mattermost and on Slack. So, but you can manage all your stats here. You can see active, inactive. You can see how many peers you have. Unfortunately, this is only for LND. So if you normally use C Lightning, this is better if you have LND because it works for that. But basically, yeah, there's tons of stuff you can do here, and you can see everything. It's really great, and it's, like I said, it's 3 clicks, 3 buttons. So, but basically, if you don't have a BTC Pay server and you are wanting to get set up, you can, and honestly, like, if you're not a merchant, like, I'm not really a hardcore merchant. I have like some side projects that I do, but if you just want a Lightning Network node and setup, like interface, like I just showed you with Ride the Lightning, just get BTC Pay Server just for Lightning. It's so easy. It costs like $9 a month, and everything is set up for you. You don't have to do the command line. I mean, that's fun. Like everybody wants to use the command line. Like it's cool, but like this is pretty easy. I can check this while I'm at work, like while I'm wherever. I can check it on my phone. You know, it's super easy. But anyways, so we have this document called deployment, and basically this shows you the different options for deployment and the reasons why you should do it. So like, you know, the web solutions are the easiest. The VPS are kind of a little bit more nerdy, you know, if you like, you want to get in there and have your containers and all that, like do it yourself. That's cool. Or there's hardware solutions, which is awesome too. If you want to, like, maybe you're a business and you want to be brick and mortar, you want to have your hardware solution, you know, there's lots of different ways to do it. This is like the developer solutions, and it's really not recommended for new users. We get a lot of questions on the manual install, and you know, if you're really not super technical, you might as well just save yourself a headache and do some of the easier methods at first and get set up, and then, you know, experiment with some of the other more difficult ways to do it. So the easiest way is, well, first there's the third-party host, which is like where you connect to someone else's server, but you can't use Lightning doing that. So the next easiest way with Lightning is the Luna Node Web Wizard, and we have a guide on how to use that. And as you can see, it's really easy. It's basically a few clicks and just syncing the blockchain. So yeah, you can do Lightning using that setup.
Yeah, and I honestly I love that setup for development, because as our time is limited, we can't show everything, but one of the most important thing I think we should demonstrate is showing that launching of the node, and if you go, let me show you exactly how easy it is. When you visit Luna Node launch BTC Pay server lunanode.com, you just need your Luna Node ID, and then you need your Luna Node key, which I'll hide. Click continue, and once you enter your API, you know, ID and key, you will be given this option of launching new BTC Pay server instance that contains Bitcoin core node and can also contain Lightning implementation. So whether you want LND or C Lightning, right now for RTL you want LND, but like support for C Lightning is coming soon. So whether you want to enjoy the awesomeness of RTL that Britt demonstrated, you'll be able to do that regardless if it's LND or C Lightning. But that's what I love about this setup. It's so easy, you know. You just select options and go for those options. If I go through rest of the fields, this is the email on which you can be notified on your Let's Encrypt certificate. And that's one thing that Pierre mentioned in his previous call. What I love about this setup is because we're setting up remote Lightning node for you. We only give you access over HTTPS, because if we gave you access over HTTP, anybody sniffing the traffic can steal the macaroon and, you know, compromise your Lightning node. And then, yeah, for supported cryptocurrencies, we won't get into that, not to start another Twitter flame war. But you can see it is, everything is there. And then if you want to accelerate initial blockchain synchronization, this is great. But actually, I'll be showing fast sync now during this demo, so I can even turn that off, save myself $3. Yeah, and then SSH key, because once you bring up this node, you will be able to SSH into it. And yeah, if you have your SSH key, you just put it here and enjoy. And then Lightning alias. Yeah, what should we call our node, Britt?
Maybe
Piano.
Sure.
Boltathon.
Boltathon.
Piano.
My
No, we're listening to Britt. Yeah, no, we can't hear. So launch VM and take that command line, right? Actually, yeah, this is it. This is like you launched your BTC Pay server, your LND, your Bitcoin core. You have set up SSL certificate. Like this, once this setup is complete, you have everything, and I'll be showing that shortly by yeah, going SSH into this instance. So now if you try to visit the URL, you obviously can't, because it takes about 5 minutes for Docker containers to you know, you first need to pull Git repository and initialize Docker containers. So we will, in the meantime, need to do something else. Do you have anything to add on the setup, Britt?
The only thing I would say is that we have fast sync documented, but I'll show it after you're done.
Okay, okay, we'll do that. But basically, this is the script that's executed. So if you want to know more details as a, you know, technical person, developer, this is where I would recommend you start. Let me see if there are any questions. It is great, thank you. So so while we wait on our node to start up, I guess I can show how I do development, and then for any developer that wants to join, you're welcome. Let me just get my Visual Studio over to this side and go a little bit through solution. So our solution is has two projects. The first project is BTC Pay server itself, and then the second project is tests that also contains Docker file with all the dependencies. So all our tests that we currently have, they actually run through Bitcoin D, customer Lightning D, like LND. So in order for you to develop, you need the full environment. And the way that I bring environment for my own development, I just open console in the directory of BTC Pay server tests, and I go docker compose up dev, and this will bring up all the containers I need for development. And after I do that, I just need to go F5 or press this button in Visual Studio, and now my BTC Pay server will connect to MBX Explorer, Bitcoin D, LND, or C Lightning, depending on my settings. And we'll start the instance, local instance that I can use for Development. Let me see another window. There we go. Instance running. And now you can see the newest feature that I have done, because we got requirement from merchants. They don't want to see days ago, time ago. They wanted to see on invoices exactly what was the time of invoice. So that's what I implemented. And now, for example, if I want to change anything on that page, I know that it's list invoice CS HTML, and yeah, I start just changing HTML. And then as I change HTML, that's changed in my development environment. And once I am done with my changes, I can create commit and send it for change. Please don't merge this. Yeah, yeah, but seriously, that's all there is. Obviously, learning C# and the details of how you develop in ASP.NET Core is beyond this talk, but whoever is a great developer and wants to get started with .NET Core, just let me know. Find me on that Mattermost, and I'll get you started, and we'll start having fun together, because there are so many issues that we can address. Anything you wanted to add, Britt, on that, because you are also C# developer?
No. Maybe you can show them what shows up in the PowerShell when you deploy it. You have like reg test node and everything in there.
You mean here in the log?
Yeah, what's this all about?
Because I need another terminal window. Be flooded by terminals. So if you list all the containers, you will see we bring up so many things. So let's see.
So this is everything that Luna node does behind the scenes.
Yeah, you have Lightning Charge, Lightning, BTC. The reason why you have two instances, for example, is because we have tests that where you interact between customer L&D instance and merchant L&D instance. So we need two L&D instances in order to execute those tests. So yeah, if you if you want one also useful command is, if you're unsure about anything, for example, your MBX Explorer is not working for you, one really useful command is docker ps docker logs 87. My num lock is not working, so docker logs, and you can see the logs from MBX Explorer, and you can use this to debug any problems you have. But by now we have our node like that Luna node instance of BTC Pay Server that we launched. It's up and running, and now you have famous dialogue that everybody hates. Your nodes are syncing, right? Everybody is like, why? But what I'll show you now is how you as a merchant can make this way faster. So
okay, so we've got a couple questions actually from the chat.
Sure.
Can developers run BTC Pay locally without a Windows machine?
Yes, they can. All this that I'm showing, you can do it on Linux or Mac. And if you're unsure how, actually I had one presentation when I'm showing it on Linux, but if you run into any problems with setting up Visual Studio Code, just let me know. I'm on that Mattermost, and I'll help you. I already helped like 5 developers, and then they never called me back, and I'm sad. Yeah. Any other questions? Because if not, we'll get to SSHing into our yes, I want to connect. And this is the machine that's running this instance. So sudo su, and now we go to root, and over there you have BTC Pay Server, BTC Pay Server Docker, and this is your local instance of the BTC Pay Server Docker repository. And we here have a lot of command line tools that will help you manage your instance. What we're focusing on now is saying, let's first bring down our instance. And this is now stopping all the containers, all the work they're performing. So if you try to refresh after our command is done, it will be like, no, I can't connect. So containers, taking down containers shouldn't take this long, but let's wait it out so that I don't run into any other problems. SSH, let's go. Yeah, exactly. Come on, SSH. We don't have whole day. Any other questions while I'm doing this and waiting on SSH? Or do you have anything to add, Britt?
No, I'm going to post how to get started for development link here. There we go. In case anybody wants to give it a try with reg test.
Sure. And sorry, SSH. Now I'll try to break this because my background is leaking. Come on. Let's go again. Because if it won't work, I'm gonna destroy all the Docker containers. Okay. Let's see. So this is still running. There we go. After it doesn't work, you kill it 3 times and then it works. But no, I think I destroyed it because this was Luna node was still running. Oh no. Well, what can you do? But the main thing that I wanted to show here is to go fast sync, how you will get started. Like you saw that we only got to 0% with syncing of blockchain. Actually, if you go to contrib fast sync, all you need to do is load UTXO set. We have that command, and it's what is done is described here in a detailed manner. And to perform this installation like this, we advise that you have your own full node that you trust. But basically, you go load UTXO set, and it will start downloading the UTXO set. And now your synchronization will take, as you see, 30 minutes instead of, it depends on the download speed, but it can be really, really fast. Alternative is, of course, to upload your own, UTXO set that you trust. But we have done this for merchants that, that want to get up and running as soon as possible. So, in interest of keeping this demo short, I actually have another instance of BTC Pay Server that I'm logged in. So this one is on 702.823. Let's see. 702. There we go.
So someone's asking,
Sure.
is your current dev environment MS Code and not a full Visual Studio setup? I believe you spoke about a presentation for setting up a dev environment on Linux.
Yeah. So as I always say, I'm following Satoshi's vision, and I'm developing on Windows. If if you're developing, yeah, on Linux and sinning against Satoshi's vision, then yeah, you use Visual Studio Code. I prefer I prefer Visual Studio, so most of my development is through Visual Studio, but VS Code, I tried it a few times, and it's the same experience. You have the full debugger. If you prefer Visual Studio Code, it will work perfectly. You know, just if you're running into any trouble with C# or stuff like that, just let me know, and I'll try to help you out. I mean, no, I won't try. I'll succeed. I'll help you out. Yeah, no problem. So this node is also down, and on this node I went contribute, and then I did fast sync, and I already loaded UTXO set. So to continue, I actually need to go back, and I need to say btc pay up.sh. So now this will bring up the full node with loaded UTXO set. And if I visit this URL, we'll see the node is starting. Node is still starting. You can obviously inspect your node, see what it's doing. This is, yeah, companion. This is the container that we use for generating fragments, BTC base server itself, and Nginx that is in front and handles all HTTP requests, instance of LND, Bitcoin, Bitcoin Core, Postgres, MBX Explorer, RTL. So you see you have full package. And if you want to see, say, you know, want to see LND logs, where is LND? Okay, here, Docker logs 6CA, and this is all we have in LND logs. But you can see this node is now already synchronized to this length. And let's say, you know, you don't even have Trusty. What you do in that case? In this case, what I've done is I've implemented this bot that publishes information about UTXO sets and validation of UTXO sets. So here we were at the what was the height? We were at 570.532. If we want to validate the UTXO set that we now started on this node, we actually can query Bitcoin D directly. So we go Bitcoin CLI sh, which will forward our command to an appropriate Docker container, and we say get set info. And what will this do? It will give you state and hash of your UTXO set that you can compare with full node that you trust, or this automated bot that we're now running, and that I will get more people to participate in consensus, because this is the latest UTXO snapshot it did. And this node is my own personal node that I synced from Genesis. So I want to get as many people from community here so that it's consensus. It's not, you know, just me saying what is the current state of UTXO set. Do you have anything to add, Britt?
No, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I love the bot.
Thank you. I need to send you the fetcher. I'll be open sourcing fetcher that gets the data from Bitcoin Core node and sends this tweet.
Okay.
So I'll open source it and, you know, send it to you. So if you want to run it with your full node, perfect.
Cool.
Yeah. So let's see. So this node loaded with UTXO set. Best block, yeah. These two values you can verify from any blockchain explorer, like height and what is the tip. but the state of UTXO set, you can't, which is where this bot comes in. So what it is, 765 C, yeah. So that's it. Full amount, transactions, transaction outs. So what does this mean? So this means that UTXO set that Nicholas published here, and hosts on his own, like it's valid UTXO set, it's not tainted. And we're actually starting a project here to have everybody from community who wants and who validates this UTXO set to send their own signature. And now that I validated this UTXO set today during the session, I'll sign the UTXO set. How do I do that? So I first of all, I need a copy of UTXO sets. So I go copy UTXO sets, Rockstar dev. This is my username on Keybase. That's important. So I go UTXO sets. Now I have that. And I need a Keybase because that's how I verify my identity. So this is the command I need from Keybase. So my UTXO set now will be Rockstar dev. Rockstar dev UTXO set, and I use my Keybase to sign. And if I go back to my local Docker repository, I now have signed the set. Now I can remove this file I use for signature, and I can create new commits saying signing UTXO set. Thank you, Nicholas. And I push that commit to here. And now if we go here, I can create pull request. Oh, please don't tell me I pushed the master. Let's see. Yes. Pull request, sign in. The perfect moment for two-factor authentication, right?
Perfect.
Yeah.
So is this something that you have to do all the time, or is just one time kind of like good enough, or?
Well, I actually, whenever we publish a new snapshot, let's say 6 months pass, and we now want a new snapshot to enable our merchants to get started in 5 minutes. Everybody, all the old snapshots that you signed, they're already signed by you. But the new snapshot, you need to essentially validate it. And then when you validate it, you sign it and help other people. Because I see this process kind of like compiling, It's easy for us developers, just give me a GitHub repository, I'll compile executable, and that's it. That's it for me. But for end users that just want to download utility and use it, they depend on stuff like this. And and I think it's technically, I think this is probably the best approach to solving this problem. The only more ideal approach would be to do this on Bitcoin D level and then have some kind of reverse blockchain synchronization. But for merchants, if like, I love this because you get full validating node, like the node that actually enforces consensus, rules that you believe in, and out of all the stuff that's out there, as a technical person, like, I love this one the most. So that's it. And that's where actually I would stop. If anybody wants to do code along or has questions about BTC based server architecture, yeah, let's first do Q&A and then coding later.
Yeah, would you mind stopping your share screen so that we can see the speakers' faces and that awesome background?
No, it's leaking, so let's go. I will see to switch to.
Yeah, so what kind of questions do you guys have for the BTC Pay team? Can be about their presentation, about setting stuff up for BTC Pay, maybe even what it's like working for an open source project. You guys can submit your questions in the chat box below, and also Q&A in the Q&A button that you guys see. Okay, so here is one question from Patrick. How is fiat sweeping for Lightning coming along?
Pure anticipation.
No, awesome. I was hoping Britt will handle the question, but it's coming along awesome. There are still not many public things I can disclose, but I love how everybody from Bitcoin ecosystem is trying to contribute. And we actually reached out to a few addresses, and it's just been, response has been phenomenal. As soon as the exchanges that I reached out, they give me okay, like I will be glad to announce everything that they're doing. And also, if you're a project, we would, like, well-known open source project that's trying to raise money, we would love to talk with you. Like, we will be starting with testing this fiat conversion in action, and we are looking for partners who want to receive money, so and are willing to risk some of, I mean, not risk, we'll cover any losses, but anybody who wants to help us test technology and, you know, get crypto donations, fiat donations, just let us know, reach out.
Yeah, that's pretty exciting news. One question is, what is fiat sweeping?
Do you want to handle it, Britt?
Sure. Basically, it is a way for merchants to convert Bitcoin to fiat without having to go to another exchange or use something like BISC. They can do it through BTC Pay.
Yeah.
Another question that we have from the audience is, do you have plans for the translation of the most superficial front-facing documentation?
Yes. Yes, we do. We're working on that right now. If you are a translator and you want to help us work on translating it, definitely come into the chat. Otherwise, BTC Pay is on TransFX, and soon we'll be working on translating the website interface. And right now, our awesome web developer, Ed, is working in our chat with our community on how to integrate a translated version of the website.
Very cool.
Yeah, and you were showing, the only thing I wanted to add on documentation is you were showing it through GitHub repository, but I love the website. Like, yeah. I don't know if people are even aware they can go to docs.btcpayserver.org. Like, just look, guys, look how pretty it is.
Yeah, it's so pretty. I like the nerd view, you know, you feel like you're in the zone.
Maybe I'm trying to run away from Git. I feel the need, like, to edit as I'm reading. Yeah, I edit. But yeah.
Cool. Well, thank you two so much. I thought that was really insightful. It helped me understand BTC Pay a lot better. So thanks for breaking that down. Now we're going to do a short ad spot for our sponsor, SparkSwap. SparkSwap is a non-custodial cryptocurrency exchange that uses Lightning Network atomic swaps to allow you to trade Bitcoin for other cryptocurrencies nearly instantly without ever giving up control of your assets. That's actually pretty important because a lot of exchanges right now, they're all custodial. You're risking your funds, and people have lost tons of money. Like Quadriga is one, and there's been a lot of other exchanges in Asia actually recently that have been hacked. So non-custodial instant exchange is pretty important. And SparkSwap, they are looking for beta testers right now to try out their software and actual engineers to join the team. So if you're a developer, if you're a Lightning Network developer, definitely reach out to Trey. He's definitely looking to find people to join his team. If you want to work on a cutting-edge Lightning app full-time, check out sparkswap.com for more details. Cool. And one question from the audience is, can we get a recorded video of the session? Yes. We will be hosting these later. All right? Okay, well, thanks everyone for joining. The next talk is actually Rusty Russell, which is pretty sick. So tickets are still on sale. If you haven't gotten those, check it out.